Welcome back to In-Depth Literature, everybody. I thought I would just kind of share some vlog footage with y'all. We are setting up the bedroom studio. It's going to be called Studio B because a lot of times, there's people in the other room or somebody's on the phone or my dad's got the TV on. So I can't always film in there. Most of the time I can, but I'm so particular about the way that I film. I don't like people being in the house while I'm filming. So it's going to be good to have this is a backup. That way I can make more consistent content for y'all. I don't have to worry about the studio being set up in there. If you guys have been around in-depth literature for quite some time, you'll know that this is where we originally started the channel, was in here. So it's going to be kind of cool and kind of cozy to kind of have the original space back. I think I'm going to obviously I'm going to put some type of books here. I think I'm going to put all the tiny paperbacks in here. I think that might be a good shelf to start. I think I'm going to be able to get most of my tiny paperbacks up here, so I'll just kind of film some of the organizational footage there for you. Hi, Pete. And if anybody's asking why there's toilet paper in my bed, I prefer toilet paper over tissues because tissues are dusty and they make me sneeze even more. Comment down below if you agree. Try to hang up some more paintings up here to get rid of this fugly looking wall. It's all good. Maybe some people like that kind of aesthetic style, but we're going to try to figure out something. But most of the time you guys are going to be seeing me sitting down in front of this bookshelf, so you're not really going to be able to see all the way up there. But yeah, just a little impromptu room tour, I guess. I'll show you some literature that we're reading over here. This is kind of like my bedside literature. My friend gave me How Al-Anon Works for Family and Friends of Alcoholics. So that's been kind of eye-opening, pretty well written as well. Also getting through the poems and plays of Alfred Lord Tennyson, English master poet. Definitely recommend this. I got this beautiful modern library edition. This is probably one of the oldest books I have, actually. And of course, we're actually still getting through the Bible. We're actually on Psalms currently. So definitely encourage you all to do some biblical reading. And you'd be surprised how much of the Bible you can actually knock out. And the Bible is not something that, obviously you want to just kind of check it off your list or whatever, but it's really something that you'll come back to endlessly, rereading for nourishment and spiritual wisdom, all that good stuff. So yeah, might as well show my little overflow of art books. Obviously these are DVDs, those are not art books. But I'm not that interested in art books anymore, but the ones that I have, I think I'm just going to keep these because they're beautiful. And there'll probably come a day where I want to kind of look through them again, study them again, maybe make some content out of them. Not for you, Pete. Sorry about the disarray in here. But yeah, so it's cool. Me and my friend Kelsey were actually showing each other our art book collection. And these are really great coffee book, or coffee table books to have over just when people come over or whatever. If somebody's interested in art, you can kind of dig one of these out. Some of these are really great. We got some Robert Crumb, got The Artist Way. We got this Garden of Domino by Hiroaki Namio. Just look it up on Google. I'm not going to talk too much about it now, but it's awesome. Francis Bacon. But anyway, yeah, this is not really an art channel, but I just wanted to kind of show my art books because there was a time when I was really passionate about these, but now it's all about the literature. So as I told you a couple minutes ago, I'm thinking about putting all these tiny paperback spillovers right here over on the new studio bookshelf. And obviously, if you watched the book tour the other day, you'll know that we also have tiny paperbacks up here. But I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do it. Maybe we'll end up putting the Penguin Classics in the Studio B because I have a lot of those that kind of need a home. But I kind of like the way the Penguins look right there. So we got a couple different options. I just can't really quite decide. And my whole entire collection needs to be reorganized and sort of rethought out and all that good stuff because there's just a lot of spillover random stuff kind of everywhere, and the genres and the shelves are not quite as particularly organized as I'd like them to be, but for the most part, I'm happy with it. Okay, so I know I'm rambling and kind of repeating myself, but as you can see, for example, we've got a Penguin Classic here, we've got another one here, we've got some more right over here. So I think I'm gonna stick with the original plan, move all these over to Studio B, possibly some of the tiny paperbacks over there. I'm not gonna swivel the camera over there because you're gonna get dizzy. And that way we can finish and make this whole entire section all Penguin classics, because it is a little awkward having all these beautiful penguins and then all of a sudden there's just all these random paperbacks. So I think the best thing to do for my well-being and the book's well-being, the collection's well-being, is to put these in Studio B, and I think it's going to be great. And we might actually have room for even more books, spillover stuff. You know, maybe we'll start a new shelf for a new genre or something, and try to, you know, recontextualize and sort of reconfigure all of this over here as well. I also wanted to mention we also finally finished the Divine Comedy trilogy. We just got through the Paradiso, and we're going to be doing an analysis of this pretty soon. I just love having these all in the same edition. This is an older translation by our good friend Longfellow. There's a bunch more translations out there that you can grant access to. In fact, we just got this new one. You guys might have seen that in my book haul. Got some old drafts of the old novel down there or something like that. And you know, I think that's just YouTube notes or something, but there's all kinds of random stuff here in the studio. But yeah, here, the first draft of the novel that we're writing is there. We'll talk more about that later. But yeah, so we do have an analysis plan for that as well. Just wanted to give you guys a little update on what we've been recently reading and finishing. So just wanted to show everybody where we were at with the tiny paperback shelf organization. And I'm kind of liking the way it looks, but I feel like it's missing something. Maybe it just needs a couple pictures up here or whatever, but overall it's nice and organized. I'm not going to go over the exact organization of it now. I'll probably talk about that in a later video. But we have some extra room down here, as you can see. Among all these great titles, we have a little extra room down here, so some of the extra books that are kind of lying around on that table that we showed you earlier are probably going to go right down here. I want to maybe leave a little room for that plug, but it's probably going to end up getting covered with books. That's a beautiful Tolkien collection, if I don't say so myself. I have more Tolkiens in the other room, but this shelf specifically I thought would be really great for tiny paperbacks. And I might end up, you know, kind of stacking some sideways like that, you know, but I don't know, I kind of like the way they look, not covered up as well. So that's the progress of the shelf, and we'll kind of go from there. So kind of, you know, explaining what we were just talking about, we have this really nice, awesome copy of Dune here, which is a little taller, as you can see, than an average tiny paperback, but it's still kind of in that style. And it's virtually almost the same size. I'll show you in comparison. This is a standard size paperback, and this one is just a little bit taller, but not by much. So it still kind of qualifies in my book as a tiny paperback. So we might just kind of display Dune right there. And also we could kind of do something like this as well. You know, maybe during videos, or maybe every week we'll kind of, you know, I'm still going to be making videos in the large library for the most part, but this is kind of just a little second studio. And yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. So the only tiny paperbacks that are actually still left in this entire collection in here are these 3 little Shakespeare books, which I don't really want to take out of here, but they're kind of out of place, and I think they would look better and be much more at home with their own kind in the tiny paperback shelf. So I think we're going to go ahead and follow suit with that. And I actually forgot, there's actually one more tiny paperback right here, which is this Portrait of Jack the Ripper by Patricia Cornwell, which we should probably put that in the tiny paperbacks just so that everything kind of flows a little better. Let me just make sure it is. Yeah, that's a tiny paperback, but I kind of want to leave it in the true crime section over here. But what the hell, let's put it with the tiny paperbacks, because I need to fill up some space, and I can always get a hardcover or another version of this to add to the collection down here. So that is kind of sort of the dilemma of being a book collector, being a bibliophile, is you're always kind of wondering, you know, should I put all the books in the same size? What order should all the books go in? Should we be organizing by author or genre or edition or yada, yada, yada? So it never really ends. And you can always adjust. Ooh, that's a little blinding, but you don't want to lose too much sleep over making it perfect, because it's always going to ebb and flow. It's always going to change a little bit. But in general, I organize by author. And if that is, you know, if I don't have enough books of the same author, I'll just kind of go into genre or time period. But in general, if I have more than one book of an author in a particular size or a particular edition, I will try to keep those all together. But this is kind of like a really beautifully curated overall look into all the authors that I read. They're all tiny paperbacks, so there's kind of they're all going to fit together nicely in that manner. However, I just have to keep in mind, and I guess everybody else that ever comes into my library or watches the channel, we have more books by the same authors in other versions, obviously. But the tiny paperbacks are great for collecting. They're cheap, they're easy to acquire, they're easy to store within, you know, within reason. And so yeah, just a little advice for collecting and organizing books for y'all. And just by grabbing that Patricia Cornwell book and the King Lear books, we've filled out a decent amount of space on this bottom shelf here. And I think we're going to leave it blank for the time being, because it's not going to take me long to acquire some more tiny paperbacks to fill up this gap here. Maybe our next book haul will try to focus on purchasing tiny paperbacks just for that sole purpose. But I'm actually really happy with the way this is looking. It might just need some decorations or something. I'm talking a little softer because my head is super close to the camera as I zoom out here. Well, yeah, that's where we're at. I think we'll probably close out the vlog here. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. I'll kind of zoom in for you all here slowly. I'm breaking my back for y'all. Trying to get good footage in here. My dad's gonna troll me on the shaky camera work, but we're doing our best. So this is just a really great overview. A lot of different authors and tiny paperbacks that we currently own.